For years, we've all been playing a game about keywords and backlinks and trying to optimize every single page perfectly. But what if I told you that the rulebook we've all been using is, well, it's completely out of date? What if the real game is something else entirely? Today, we're going to look at how Google really decides who wins the top spot.
So let's just start right here with the big idea. The greatest strategic failure in marketing is what I call the keyword illusion. It's this belief that we're fighting these little page-by-page battles for search terms. But the reality? Google doesn't think in pages anymore. It thinks in entities. It ranks the complete, exhaustive expertise of your entire digital presence on a topic. This isn't just some new tactic, you guys. It's a fundamental shift in the whole game. And if you want to win, you have to learn the new rules.
So here's the game plan for the next few minutes. We're going to build a totally new way of thinking about search. First, we'll tear down the keyword illusion. Then, we'll look at the AI content crisis that basically forced Google's hand. We'll pop the hood on the authority engine to see how it works, understand the psychology of why it's so powerful, lay out the actual blueprint for building one, and then, finally, we'll talk about the new standard for winning online. Okay, let's start with a feeling I bet is all too familiar. You've done everything you're supposed to. You've followed all the best practices, but the results? They're just not showing up. So, what's going on?
Seriously, think about it. You pour weeks into crafting this masterpiece. You do the research, you get the keyword density just right, you build some great backlinks, you hit publish, and you wait for the magic. But instead of climbing to page 1, it just sits there, stuck on page 4. And what's worse, you see some older, clunkier article from a big brand just sitting at number 1. This isn't bad luck. It's the system working exactly as designed. And here's the crazy part. The more you obsess over that one single keyword, the more you might actually be telling Google that you're not a real expert.
This is what we call the granular illusion. It's this old, baked-in idea that SEO is this tiny page-by-page fight. But here's the truth. Google's AI is way past just matching words now. It understands concepts, it understands relationships, it's measuring something we call the semantic density of your entire site. In plain English, it wants to know how completely you cover a topic. Are you a whole library on a subject, or are you just a single page shouting one thing? Because Google always rewards the library.
And you can really see the strategic difference here. The old way was keyword hunting. You're just reacting, chasing terms, and what you build is a spike. It's fragile, it's one skinny little point that's easy to knock over. The new model, it's category anchoring. It's proactive, it's holistic. You're building a fortress, a massive, interconnected stronghold of knowledge. It's so complete that Google doesn't just see you as an answer, it sees you as the destination for that whole topic. You stop fighting tiny battles and you start winning the war.
So what happened? Why did Google have to throw out a playbook it had been using for 20 years? Well, the short answer is that a technological tsunami just completely changed the internet.
So let's look at the timeline. Before 2024, yeah, keywords and backlinks worked pretty well. They were decent signals for quality. But then, the AI content flood hit. All of a sudden, anyone could pump out endless streams of good enough content about anything. Keywords became meaningless because you could just stuff them in. Backlinks could be bought and sold at scale. The old signals were completely drowned out by the noise, and Google had a huge problem. If they kept using those old signals, their search results would become a swamp of mediocre AI spam. They had to find a new signal, a better signal. They had to stop judging text and start identifying true authorities.
And this right here is Google's new Prime directive. It's so simple, but so powerful. Their #1 goal is to find the one website that satisfies a user so completely they never have to hit the back button. They want to find that one definitive source that answers the user's first question, and their second, and their third, even the questions they didn't know they had. This idea is called semantic completeness. It's about covering a topic so thoroughly you become the user's final stop, and that is how you earn Google's trust.
Okay, so if the goal is to build this fortress of knowledge, what are the blueprints? How do you actually structure your content to prove you're an expert? The answer is a really elegant model called the Semantic Hub-and-Spoke engine.
It all starts with the pillar node. I want you to think of this as the master textbook for your topic. It's a huge, comprehensive resource. We're talking 3,000 words or more that covers the entire category from a bird's eye view. So if your topic is CRM software, your pillar would be something like the ultimate guide to CRM. It would cover what it is, why it's important, its history, its key features, the whole shebang.
This is the sun that everything else is going to orbit around. Then, branching out from that central pillar, you have the cluster spokes. Think of these as the individual chapters in your textbook. They're smaller, super specialized articles that take one little idea from the pillar and just blow it up into a deep dive. So for our CRM pillar, you might have spokes like CRM for small businesses, how to calculate CRM ROI, or Salesforce versus HubSpot. Each one is a laser-focused piece of expert content.
And finally, you have the internal mesh. This is the secret sauce. It's the semantic glue that holds the whole thing together. It's a very deliberate, very strategic network of internal links. Every single spoke article has to link back up to the main pillar page. Now, this isn't just for users to click on. This is you literally drawing a map for Google's crawlers, telling them, hey, all these pages aren't separate islands. They're all part of one big, expert brain on this topic.
So you can see how this all comes together to build authority like a flywheel. It's a self-reinforcing loop. You publish your pillar and plant your flag in a category. Then you start adding the spokes, one by one, covering every little corner of the topic. You connect everything with that internal mesh. And here's where the magic really happens. Every time you add a new spoke, you're not just making that one page stronger. You're making the entire entity stronger. The pillar gets more powerful, all the other spokes get a boost. You're not just making content anymore. You're building a knowledge fortress with a moat around it that gets wider and deeper every single day. Now, this system is brilliant at signaling expertise to a search engine algorithm, but the real genius of it is that it's not actually designed for machines. It works because it taps into some really fundamental principles of human psychology. At the heart of it all is something called the authority heuristic. See, our brains are lazy. They're always looking for shortcuts to make decisions easier. And one of the biggest shortcuts we use is trusting the source that seems the most complete. We are hardwired to defer to the perceived expert. Just think about it. If you're looking up a medical condition, do you trust one random blog post, or do you trust the Mayo Clinic's website that seems to have an answer for every possible question? This model is designed to make you the Mayo Clinic of your industry. So what does this actually do to a user's brain? Well, first, it creates cognitive ease. When someone finds one of your articles and sees how it connects to this whole universe of knowledge, their brain just relaxes. They stop being skeptical and they start getting absorbed into your world. Second, it de-escalates risk. After seeing how much you know, going with a competitor who just has one flimsy article feels like a huge gamble. You become the safe bet. Third, it triggers the mere exposure effect. When a user searches for 3 or 4 different questions and your brand keeps popping up, their brain just subconsciously decides, okay, these guys are the kings of this topic. And finally, all of this leads to brand anchoring. The user literally stops needing to think and just outsources their trust to you. You're not just a source anymore, you've become the source.
All right, so we've talked about the why and the what. Now it's time for the how. How do we go from theory to actually putting this into practice? Let's get out the architect's blueprint.
There are 4 big steps here. First, you have to architect for semantic completeness. That means you literally map out the entire universe of your topic. Every question, every subtopic, every related idea, you have to know the whole landscape. Second, and this is probably the most important step of all, you have to engineer the information gain bridge. That's Google's fancy term for bringing something new to the table. In a world of AI content, just rehashing what's already out there is a death sentence. You have to provide unique value. This means proprietary data, original case studies, expert interviews, or a truly unique perspective that only you have. This is how you prove you're a creator, not just a collector of information. Third, you automate the internal link mesh. Make it a system. Every spoke links to its pillar, no exceptions. And fourth, you have to completely change how you measure your own success.
And this is a massive mindset shift. You need to throw out your old dashboards. Stop obsessing over your rank for one keyword. Your new North Star metric is topical share of voice. The question isn't, do we rank for this term anymore? The question is, what percentage of the entire conversation in our category do we own? When you start thinking in terms of dominating topics, not just ranking for keywords, that's when you know you've made the leap from being a content producer to an authority architect.
So let's zoom all the way out. What does all of this mean for the future of building a business online? It means the rules have changed for good, and there's a new standard for what it takes to win. Here's the bottom line. In a world that is flooded with infinite AI noise, where good enough content costs nothing to make, real, deep, exhaustive expertise is the only thing left that has any value. It's the final moat. It's the one thing you can't fake, you can't automate, and you can't easily buy. It takes real work and real knowledge. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. And this just completely changes the goal of what we do. We have to stop thinking about pushing people through funnels. This model isn't about little tricks or persuasion hacks. It's about creating a center of gravity.
When you build the most valuable, most comprehensive resource on a topic, you don't have to push anyone. You just pull them in with the sheer force of the value you've created. You stop being one of the choices and you become the standard.
In the end, this whole strategy is about one thing: rewarding real knowledge. It's a powerful reminder that real, sustainable growth doesn't come from finding a shortcut or gaming an algorithm. It comes from the hard, satisfying work of learning a subject so deeply that you actually become the definitive source. Because at the end of the day, growth isn't linear, it's learned.